have to chalk this one up, another one, for the 45th president. This is a huge victory for the president. Again, we don't have all the details on this thing. We know it affects farmers. We know it affects car manufacturing and the like. But this is a huge victory for the president. He campaigned on this. There were many, many people who said it couldn't be done. That is a renegotiation of NAFTA. We don't even have NAFTA anymore, I guess, Dick Morris. We can officially proclaim on this program right now, on this date, NAFTA is dead. This is a bilateral agreement. And Enrique Peña Nieto, the president of Mexico, on the phone conference when the president was announcing this, they were both announcing it, this agreement. It's interesting because he was pushing for Canada to be part of the deal, and the president didn't really respond to that. He almost pushed back and said, no, we got a bilateral deal. If Canada wants a deal, we'll do one with them separately. So really a victory for the 45th president.
Yeah, it's reminiscent, really, of in reverse, of the hostage return deal that Ronald Reagan negotiated and Carter did at the very last hour of the Carter presidency as Reagan was coming in. The Ayatollah knew that with Reagan he'd have a very different foe than he had with Carter, so he figured he might as well come to terms. In this case, the political change is in Mexico, not in the United States. A harshly anti-American president, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, AMLO, is about to take office on January 1st. And I think the Mexican administration said, we better get this deal done before AMLO takes charge. And I think that hastened the negotiation and led everybody to be more reasonable than they otherwise might be.
And now we're waiting to see if the other shoe's going to drop with Canada. And one would believe that one way or another they're going to work out some sort of deal with Canada. And as we step back and look at this, Dick Morris, it's just astounding to me when you look at the economy, you look at GDP, you look at the stock market, you look at this deal, you look at what the president is attempting to do regarding immigration, our stature in the world, all the change that has transpired in the first 18 months or so of his administration, all the while, pretty much, you have Robert Mueller, which is an unprecedented assault, an unprecedented investigation of the Oval Office and the presidency of the United States, going on and on and on. It seems to me now, Dick Morris, tell me if you agree with me, that I don't even know if Robert Mueller was ever investigating so-called Russia collusion. It seems to me clearly now what this prosecutor is doing is encircling the President of the United States, has nothing to do with Russian collusion and everything to do with getting the President of the United States. But this entire process, to me, is unconstitutional. Number one, I think his appointment was unconstitutional. He's violating the statute or the rulings, the court rulings that exist pertaining to a special counsel and what he or she can do, the limits on a special counsel. That's number one. But the fact that a lower-level investigator in the executive branch is quite possibly setting up a case for impeachment, that in and of itself is a violation of the separation of powers, a violation of the United States Constitution. This is completely unprecedented in the history of our country.
Yeah, well, I have good news on that front, Graham. Before going on the show, I took a bath in the polling data to see just what impact the Cohn and Manafort convictions last week have on Trump's approval. If you read the news media, they say it's a hell week for Trump. He fell apart. This is the beginning of a downward crash. No such thing. There are 4 polls that were taken before the news of these convictions came out, and Trump had a 42.5% approval. There are 5 polls after it came out, and Trump has a 44.5% approval. He actually gained 2 points in this. So this is another one of those examples where the media rushes to conclude that he's dead, rushes to report breathlessly that his administration is over, and it isn't true. The people are hanging with him. I also read a very detailed analysis of this by Andy McCarthy, who is a former assistant U.S. attorney, who writes in the National Review. And he makes the point, first of all, that to hold Trump responsible for these payments that were made to this stripper, you have to assume that the only thing on his mind was running for president. He didn't care about his wife, about his family, about his public image, about causing them pain, his relationship with his daughters. No, all he cared about was the election. And that's just not true.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.